Good evening. This is CTV News for Tuesday, June 27th. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Rochelle Metzger. Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin in Baltimore, where the Maryland State Board of Education votes unanimously to investigate allegations of tampering with grades and graduation rates in the Prince George's school system. At about the same time, members held an executive session. CEO Kevin Maxwell sent a letter to the State Board requesting a formal investigation into the allegations. The letter was signed by 8 other members of the Prince George's Board of Education. In addition, the County Educators Association released a statement saying it's concerned that the allegations will have a destructive impact on the school system. CTV News spoke with some county residents about the issue outside the Laurel Library.
They don't know anything. That's going to make it hard for them entering into adulthood. That's going to make it hard for them to obtain jobs. And then if they do decide to go to college, they're going to have struggles with even keeping up if the grades are being altered and graduation is being altered, because they're going to be at a disadvantage when they enter into adulthood.
And if that is the case, that just hurts the students, and it doesn't say much for the teacher. It really doesn't. It really doesn't, but I hope that is not the case.
I think they need to be investigated. It's possible they are doing something like that, but I don't know for sure. But let the governor investigate, see what he comes up with.
Now, earlier this week, Governor Hogan asked the State Board of Education to investigate the claims and said whistleblowers should receive full protections under the law. The State Board plans to conduct the investigation by an independent firm outside of the school system. Meantime, every Maryland public school will get an official rating starting next academic year. The State Board of Education voted this morning to include a variety of factors in the system, including student test scores, parent surveys, attendance rates, and curriculum. The change, which is part of the new federal Every Student Succeeds Act, or ASA, will allow the public to compare schools. The plan will be sent to the governor and the legislature for comment before it's submitted to the federal government in September.
Rochelle, a historic cemetery in Upper Marlboro has been vandalized, and police are looking for the culprits as some families try to regain a sense of peace after this violence.
This is my son's grave and my wife.
When Richard Bergren looks around the cemetery beside St. Thomas Episcopal Church, he can't believe his eyes.
Well, it just makes you sick when you see something like that, because we work so hard to keep this a nice cemetery.
About 25 headstones have been vandalized. They now sit toppled. Some are broken. Bergren's wife made the discovery when she came to put flowers on their son's grave on Saturday. She immediately called him.
And so I came down probably about 8 o'clock in the evening on Saturday and noticed all of the damage, and I said, no, that's nothing to do with any work that we have going on here. This is obviously vandalism that had taken place.
I think it was kids with nothing better to do, but why they would target a church is really beyond me.
Steve Kensinger, who is with the church, also expressed concern since the cemetery is considered a historic site with some graves dating back over 100 years. Soldiers from numerous conflicts, including the Revolutionary and Civil Wars, are buried here.
The War of 1812, when the British marched up Croom Road on their way to Washington, they camped here. This has been an active church since the 18th century, and it has never stopped. We still have a congregation, albeit small. We all hold hands together as a community and try and keep the life of St. Thomas alive. And when something like this happens, it really just, is like a punch to the stomach.
So far, police don't have any suspects, but believe that it was more than one person because of the amount of damage and the weight of the headstones.
People who did this, again, you may not be cognizant, but this is an opportunity for you to take account of what has occurred, find out how you've impacted this community, and make amends for that. But certainly, potentially, charged with vandalism, running into tens of thousands of dollars, and there's serious consequences for that.
While authorities now turn to the public for help in catching the vandals, the church is taking steps to try and prevent this from happening again.
Our vestry meets tonight, actually. It's a regularly scheduled meeting for this evening, and that's going to be a main topic of discussion, is getting surveillance equipment out here. It's a shame that we have to do that, but unfortunately, we're forced to do it.
And again, police asking for anyone with information on who destroyed those headstones to give them a call.
So Denise, any idea how much it'll cost or how long it'll take to fix all these headstones?
Well, it's expected to cost tens of thousands of dollars. And in terms of a timeline, the church says that they have to go through their insurance company. Once they have some sort of assessment, then they can move forward with actually fixing the headstones, and that's going to take several weeks. So quite a while still ahead of us.
Keep us posted on that.
Absolutely. Senator Ben Cardin expressed disappointment over the Supreme Court's preliminary decision on the administration's travel ban. In a decision announced yesterday, the justices say they will allow it to be enforced against travelers coming from 6 mostly Muslim countries unless they have a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the U.S. In a statement, Cardin says he hopes that the justices will not allow a person's religion to play a role in their ultimate decision. The court will hear the case when it reconvenes in October. The ban is expected to take effect on Thursday.
Calls to repeal the Clean Water Rule come from the Trump administration, and it's infuriating environmental groups nationwide. Environment America says repealing the measure endangers the drinking water for nearly 4 million Marylanders. The rule, finalized in 2015, restored federal protections to 59% of the state's streams, which feed into waterways like the Chesapeake Bay.